Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Avataravadishthaya Ramakrishna te namah. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityoramaamritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate, who came to establish religion universal. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We are discussing Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Today's topic also, Sri Ramakrishna answers questions. How Sri Ramakrishna directly and instantly answers the questions which are full of wisdom. Sri Ramakrishna explained through these answers all his experiences he got while doing sadhana. It is said in the scriptures that one who realizes Brahman comes to know everything, by knowing which everything is known. So Sri Ramakrishna did realize Brahman in both aspects, with form and without form. And he even realized that which is beyond both these aspects. So Sri Ramakrishna is answering questions in a very simple way, but very effective way. So whenever the devotees would come, they would always ask him questions. These questions are very useful and very important, because through questions the devotees are getting spiritual education, which is very difficult to get outside in this world. All nonsense about education is being learned by people. So real education, spiritual education, is very rare, extremely rare. Well, these devotees are really very blessed that they came in contact with Sri Ramakrishna. And through those questions, we are all benefited. A devotee asks a question, Master, why has God put us in this world? Many times we ask that question, why have we come into this world? What is this going on day in and day out? Talking, eating, sleeping. What else? Making properties, earning money, begetting children, involving in the activities to the extent they don't have time even to think of God. Even the little devotion that they might have goes away because of the too much of external activities. So it's a very valid question. Why has God put us in the world? And Sri Ramakrishna answers very nicely. This world is meant for us to learn. We have come here to learn, to realize the glory of ourself. The world is the field of action. It is through action one acquires knowledge. The Guru instructs the disciple to perform certain works and refrain from others. Again, he advises the student to perform action without desiring the result. The impurity of the mind is destroyed through the performance of duty. It is like getting rid of a disease by means of medicine under the instruction of a competent physician. Why doesn't God free us from the world? He will free us when the disease is cured. He will liberate us from the world when we are through with the enjoyment of lust and gold. As long as one is crazy about the pleasures of the world, he can't be free at all. He can't be liberated. So Sri Ramakrishna gives the example. Once a person registers his name in the hospital, he can't run away. The doctor will not let him go away unless his illness is completely cured. Then another question was asked. If God is responsible for everything, then why should people speak of good and evil, virtue and vice? One commits sin also by the will of God. Isn't that so? Sri Ramakrishna answers very nicely. There is no doubt that virtue and vice exist in the world. But God Himself is unattached to them. He gives the example, nice example. There may be good and bad smells in the air, but the air is not attached to them. The very nature of God's creation is that good and evil, righteous and unrighteousness will always exist in the world. Among the trees in the garden, one finds mango, and jackfruit and hog plum too. Haven't you noticed that even wicked men are needed? Suppose there are rough tenants on an estate, then the landlord must send a ruffian to control them. Another question. Can a man ever understand God's ways? Sri Ramakrishna says, I too think of God sometimes as good and sometimes as bad. He has kept us deluded by his great illusion. Sometimes he wakes us up and sometimes he keeps us unconscious. One moment the ignorance disappears and the next moment it covers our mind. If you throw a brickbat into a pond covered with moss, you get a glimpse of the water, but a few moments later the moss comes dancing back and covers the water. One is aware of pleasure and pain, birth and death, disease and grief, as long as one is identified with the body. All these belong to the body alone and not to the soul. After the death of the body, perhaps God carries one to a better place. It is like the birth of the child after the pain of delivery. Attaining self-knowledge, one looks on pleasure and pain, birth and death as a dream. How little we know. Can one share pot hold 10 shares of milk? If ever a salt dole ventures into the ocean to measure its depth, it can't come back and give us the information. It melts into the water and disappears. Then the devotee asked, why has he deluded us? Why has he so willed? Sri Ramakrishna said, if but once he should give man a taste of divine joy, then man would not care to lead a worldly life. The creation would come to an end. The grain dealer stores rice in huge bags in his warehouse. Near them, he puts some puffed rice in a tray. This is to keep the rats away. The puffed rice tastes sweet to the rats and they nibble at it all night. They don't seek the rice itself. But just think, one share of rice yields 14 shares of puffed rice. How infinitely superior is the joy of God to the pleasure of lust and gold. To one who thinks of the beauty of God, the beauty of even celestial damsels appears as but the ashes of a funeral pyre. Is it possible to understand God's action and his motive? Sri Ramakrishna answered, he creates, he preserves, and he destroys. Can we understand why he destroys? I say to the Divine Mother, oh Mother, I don't need to understand. Please give me love for thy lotus feet. The aim of human life is to attain bhakti. As for other things, the mother knows best. I have come to the garden to eat mangoes. What's the use of my calculating the number of trees, branches and leaves? I only eat the mangoes. I don't need to know the number of trees and leaves. Then, Master, how can one see God? Again and again people keep on asking. Sri Ramakrishna answered, one cannot see God without purity of heart. All our spiritual practices or religious sadhanas are meant for purification. Until and unless the heart is purified, one can't have the vision of God. Through attachment to lust and gold, the mind has become stained, covered with dirt, as it were. A magnet cannot attract a needle if the needle is covered with the mud. Wash away the mud and the magnet will draw it. Likewise, the dirt of the mind can be washed away with the tears of our eyes. This stain is removed if one sheds tears of repentance and says, "Oh God, I shall never again do such a thing." Thereupon God, who is like the magnet, draws into himself the mind, which is like the needle. Then the devotee goes into samadhi and obtains the vision of God. You may try thousands of times, but nothing can be achieved without God's grace. One can't see God without His grace. Is it an easy thing to receive the grace of God? One must altogether renounce egotism. One cannot see God as long as one feels, "I am the doer." Suppose in a family, a man has taken charge of the storeroom. Then if someone asks the master, "Sir, will you yourself kindly give me something from the storeroom?" The master says to him, "There's already someone in the storeroom. What can I do there?" God doesn't easily appear in the heart of a man who feels himself to be his own master. But God can be seen the moment His grace descends. He is the sun of knowledge. One single ray of His has illumined the world with the light of knowledge. This is how we are able to see one another and acquire varied knowledge. One can see God only if he turns his light towards his own face. Sri Ramakrishna gives example. The police sergeant goes his rounds in the dark of night with a lantern in his hand. No one sees his face, but with the help of that lantern, with the help of that light, the sergeant sees everybody's face, and others too can see one another. If you want to see the sergeant, however, you must pray to him, "Sir, please turn the light on your own face. Let me see you." In the same way, one must pray to God, "O Lord, be gracious and turn the light of knowledge on thyself, that I may see thy face. I can see thy face." Another question. What does one feel while thinking of God without form? Isn't it possible to describe it? Sri Ramakrishna answered, "What is here? You see, one must practice spiritual discipline to understand this correctly. Suppose there are treasures in a room. If you want to see them and lay hold of them, you must take the trouble to get the key and unlock the door. After that, you must take the treasure out. But suppose the room is locked, and standing outside the door, you say to yourself, Here I have opened the door, now I have taken out the treasure. I have taken out the treasure." Simply standing outside and brooding near the door will not enable you to achieve anything. You must practice discipline. The Jnanis think of God without form. They don't accept the divine incarnation. Praising Sri Krishna, Arjuna said, "Thou art Brahman absolute." Sri Krishna replied, "Follow me, and you will know whether or not I am Brahman absolute." So saying, Lord Krishna led Arjuna to a certain place and asked him what he saw there. "I see a huge tree," said Arjuna, "and on it I notice fruits hanging like clusters of blackberries." Then Lord Krishna said to Arjuna, "Come nearer, and you will find these are not clusters of blackberries, but clusters of innumerable Krishnas like me hanging from the tree." In other words, divine incarnations without number appear and disappear on the tree of the absolute Brahman. Sri Ramakrishna himself posed the question, can you tell me why you dwell so much on the powers and glories of God? And Sri Ramakrishna answers this. I asked the same thing of Keshav Sen. One day, Keshav and his party came to the temple garden at Dakshineshwar. I told them I wanted to hear how they lectured. A meeting was arranged in the paved courtyard above the bathing ghat on the Ganges, where Keshav gave a talk. He spoke very well. I went into a trance. After the lecture, I said to Keshav, why do you so often say such things as, O God, what beautiful flowers thou hast made. O God, thou hast created the heavens, the stars and the ocean, and so on. Those who love splendor themselves are fond of dwelling on God's splendor. Dive deep in the sweetness of God's bliss. What need have we of His infinite creation and unlimited glory? Then another question. What's the rule for concentration? Where should one concentrate? Sri Ramakrishna said, the heart is a splendid place. One can meditate there or in the Sahasrara at the brain center. These are rules for meditation given in the scriptures. But you may meditate wherever you like. Every place is filled with Brahman consciousness. Is there any place where it doesn't exist? Narayana, in Bali's presence, covered with 2 steps the heavens, the earth, and the interspaces. Is there any place left uncovered by God? A dirty place is as holy as the bank of the Ganges. It is said that the whole creation is the Virat, the universal form of God. So, concentrate wherever you are comfortable. How nicely Sri Ramakrishna cleared the doubts. What is Samadhi? It is the complete merging of the mind in God consciousness. The Jnani experiences Jada Samadhi, in which no trace of I is left. The Samadhi attained through the path of Bhakti is called Chetana Samadhi. In this Samadhi there remains the consciousness I of the servant and master relationship, of the lover and beloved relationship, of the enjoyer and food relationship. God is the master, the devotee is the servant. God is the beloved, the devotee is the lover. God is the food and the devotee is the enjoyer. I don't want to be sugar, I want to eat it. Master said, now you see that the mind cannot be fixed all of a sudden on the formless aspect of God. It is wise to think of God with form during the primary stages. Then the question was asked, do you mean to suggest that one should meditate on clay images? Sri Ramakrishna said, why clay? These images are the embodiments of consciousness. A Brahmo devotee asked a question, Master, what about our worldly duties, duties associated with our earning money and so forth? Sri Ramakrishna said, yes, you can perform them too, but only as much as you need for your livelihood. At the same time, you must pray to God in solitude with tears in your eyes, that you may be able to perform those duties in an unselfish manner. You should say to Him, O God, make my worldly duties fewer and fewer. Otherwise, O Lord, I find that I forget Thee when I am involved in too many activities. I may think I am doing unselfish work, but it turns out to be selfish. People who carry to excess the giving of alms or the distributing of food among the poor fall victims to the desire of acquiring name and fame. Shambhu Malik once talked about establishing hospitals, dispensaries and schools. making roads, digging public reservoirs, and so forth. Sri Ramakrishna said, I said to him, don't go out of your way to look for such works. Undertake only those works that present themselves to you and are of pressing necessity, and those also in a spirit of detachment. It is not good to become involved in many activities. That makes one forget God. Coming to the Kali Ghat temple, some perhaps spend their whole time in giving alms to the poor. They have no time to see the mother in the inner shrine. First of all, manage somehow to see the image of the Divine Mother, even by pushing through the crowd. Then you may or may not give alms as you wish. You may give to the poor to your heart's content if you feel that way. Work is only a means to the realization of God. Therefore I said to Shambhu, suppose God appears before you, then will you ask him to build hospitals and dispensaries for you? A lover of God never says that, he will rather say, O Lord, give me a place at thy lotus feet. Keep me always in thy company. Give me sincere and pure love for thee. Karma Yoga is very hard indeed. In the Kali Yuga, it is extremely difficult to perform the rites enjoined in the scriptures. Nowadays, man's life is centered on food alone. He cannot perform many spiritual rites. Suppose a man is laid up with fever. If you attempt a slow cure with the old-fashioned indigenous remedies, before long his life may be snuffed out. He can't stand much delay. Nowadays the drastic D-Gupta mixture is appropriate. In the Kali Yuga, the best way is Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, singing the praises of the Lord and prayer. The path of devotion alone is religion for this age. Another question. Sir, do you believe in the reincarnation of the soul? Sri Ramakrishna said, yes. They say there is something like that. How can we understand the ways of God through our small intellect? Many people have spoken about reincarnation. Therefore I can't disbelieve it. As Bhishma lay dying on his bed of arrows, the Pandava brothers and Krishna stood around him. They saw tears flowing from the eyes of the great hero. Arjuna said to Krishna, O Krishna, how surprising it is! Even such a man as our grandsir Bhishma, truthful, self-restrained, supremely wise, and one of 8 Vasus, weeps through Maya at the hour of death. Sri Krishna asked Bhishma about it. Bhishma replied, O Krishna, you know very well that this is not the cause of my grief. I am thinking that there is no end to the Pandavas' sufferings, though God himself is the charioteer. A thought like this makes me feel that I have understood nothing of the ways of God, and so I weep. A devotee asked, Master, is the world unreal? Sri Ramakrishna said, yes, it is unreal as long as one has not realized God. Through ignorance man forgets God and speaks always of I and mine. He sinks down and down, entangled in Maya, deluded by lust and gold. Maya robs him of his knowledge to such an extent that he can't find the way of escape, though such a way exists. Listen to a song. When such delusion veils the world through Mahamaya's spell, the Brahman is bereft of sense and Vishnu loses consciousness. What hope is left for men? You all know from your experience how impermanent the world is. Look at this way. How many people have come into the world and again passed away? People are born and they die. This moment the world is, and the next it is not. It is impermanent. Those you think to be your very own will not exist for you when you close your eyes in death. Again you see people who have no immediate relatives, and yet for the sake of grandson they will not go to Benares to lead a holy life. Oh, what will become of my Haru? Like that they argue. Haru's grandson. The narrow channel first is made, and there the trap is set. But open though the passage lies, the fish, once safely through the gate, do not come out again. Yet, even though a way leads forth, encased within its own cocoon, the worm remains to die. This kind of world is illusory and impermanent. Why, sir, should one hold to God with one hand and to the world with the other? Why should one even stretch out one hand to hold to the world if it is impermanent? Sri Ramakrishna said, the world is not impermanent if one lives there after knowing God. Listen to a song. O mind, you do not know how to form. Fallow lies the field of your life. If you had only worked it well, how rich a harvest you might reap. Hedge it about with Kali's name, if you would keep your harvest safe. This is the stoutest hedge of all, for death himself cannot come near it. Did you listen to the song? Hedge it about with Kali's name, if you would keep your harvest safe. Surrender yourself to God, and you will achieve everything. This is the stoutest hedge of all, for death himself cannot come near it. Yes, it's a strong hedge indeed. If you but realize God, you won't see the world as unsubstantial. He who has realized God knows that God himself has become the world and all living beings. When you feed your child, you should feel that you are feeding God. You should look on your father and mother as veritable manifestations of God and the Divine Mother, and serve them as such. If a man enters the world after realizing God, he doesn't generally keep up physical relations with his wife. Both of them are devotees. They love to talk only of God and pass their time in spiritual conversation. They serve other devotees of God, for they know that God alone has become all living beings, and knowing this, they devote their lives to the service of others. This way, Sri Ramakrishna has answered many questions. The whole gospel is full of questions and answers. Nice dialogues. So very easy to understand many intricacies of the spiritual ideas through Sri Ramakrishna's simple explanation. Page 880. Master Maharaj said, Mahima Chakravarti believes that the Paramahamsa can cure his disease himself if he wants to. Doctor said, what? Cure that disease himself? Is it possible? We are physicians. We know what cancer is. We ourselves cannot cure it. And he to cure himself. Why? He doesn't know anything about cancer. To his friends, the doctor said, the illness is no doubt incurable, but these gentlemen have been nursing him with sincere devotion. M requested the doctor to visit Sri Ramakrishna and returned home. In the afternoon, about 3 o'clock, M came to the master and repeated the conversation he had had with Dr. Sarkar. He said to Sri Ramakrishna, today the doctor embarrassed me. Sri Ramakrishna asked, what happened? M said, yesterday he heard here that you yourself had created this illness in order to pamper the doctor's pride. Master said, who made that remark? M said, Mahima Chakravarti. Master, what did the doctor say to you? M said, he described Mahima Chakravarti as God's lower third. Now he admits that all the qualities Sattva, Rajas and Tamas exist in God. The master laughs. Then he told me that he had waked at 3 in the morning and had been thinking of you ever since. When I saw him, it was 8 o'clock. He said to me, "Even now the Paramahamsa is in my mind." Master said laughingly, "You see, he has studied English. I can't ask him to meditate on me, but he is doing it all the same, of his own accord." M said, "He also said about you, I have the greatest regard for him as a man." Master said, "Did you talk of anything else?" M, I asked him, "What's your suggestion today about the patient?" He said, "Suggestion? Hang it. I shall have to go to him again myself. What else shall I suggest?" Sri Ramakrishna laughs. Further he said, "You don't know how much money I am losing every day. Every day I miss 2 or 3 calls." There were many devotees, including Narendranath, in the room. Vivekananda Goswami arrived and respectfully took the dust of the Master's feet. Several Brahmo devotees came with him. Vijay had cut off his connection with the Brahmo Samaj and was practicing spiritual discipline independently. Sri Ramakrishna was very fond of him on account of his piety and devotion. Though not a disciple of the Master, Vijay held him in very high respect. He had lived in Dhaka a long time. Recently he had visited many sacred places in Upper India. Mahima Chakravarti said to Vijay, "Sir, you have visited many holy places and new countries. Please tell us some of your experiences." Vijaya said, "What shall I say? I realize that everything is here, where we are sitting now. This roaming about is useless. At other places, I have seen 2, 5, 10 or 25% of him," meaning the Master, "at the most. Here alone, I find the full 100% manifestation of God." Mahima said, "You are right, sir. Again, it is He, the Master, who makes us roam about or remain in one place." Master said to Narendra, "See what a change has come over Vijaya's mind. He is an altogether different person. He is like thick milk from which all the water has been boiled off. You see, I can recognize a Paramahamsa by his neck and forehead. Yes, I can recognize Paramahamsa." Mahima said to Vijay, "Sir, you seem to eat less now. Isn't that so?" Vijaya, "Perhaps you are right." To the Master, he said, I heard about your illness and have come to see you." Again in Dhaka. Master, "What about Dhaka?" Vijaya did not reply and was silent a few moments. Vijaya said, "It is difficult to understand him," meaning the Master, "unless he reveals himself. Here alone is the 100% manifestation of God." Master said, "Kedar said the other day, at other places we don't get anything to eat, but here we get a stomach full." Mahima said, "Why a stomach full? It overflows the stomach." Vijay, to the Master, with folded hands, "I have now realized who you are. You don't have to tell me." Master in a state of ecstasy, "If so, then so be it." Saying, "Yes, I have understood," Vijaya fell prostrate before the Master. He held the Master's feet on his chest and clung to them. The Master was in deep samadhi, motionless as a picture. The devotees were overwhelmed by this sight. Some burst into tears and some chanted sacred hymns. All eyes were riveted on Sri Ramakrishna. They viewed him in different ways, according to their spiritual unfoldment. Some as a great devotee, some as a holy man, some as God incarnate. Mahimacharyan sang with tears in his eyes, "Behold, behold, the embodiment of love divine." Now and then he chanted, as if enjoying a glimpse of Brahman, the transcendental, beyond the one and the many, existence, knowledge, bliss absolute. Navgopal was weeping. Bhupati sang, Hallowed be Brahman, the absolute, the infinite, the fathomless, higher than the highest, deeper than the deepest depths. Thou art the light of truths, the fountain of love, the home of bliss. This universe with all its manifold and blessed modes is but the enchanting poem of thine inexhaustible thought. Its beauty overflows on every side. O thou poet, great and primal, in the rhythm of thy thought, the sun and moon arise and move toward their setting. The stars, shining bits of gems, are the fair characters in which thy song is written across the blue expanse of sky. The year, with its 6 seasons, in tune with the happy earth, proclaims thy glory to the end of time. The colors of the flowers reveal their sovereign beauty. The waters in their stillness, thy deep serenity. The thunderclap unveils to us the terror of thy law. Deep is thine essence, truly. How can a foolish mind perceive it? Wondering, it meditates on thee from yuga to yuga's end, millions upon millions of suns and moons and stars bow down to thee, O Lord, in rapturous awe. Beholding thy creation, men and women weep for joy. The gods and angels worship thee, O all-pervading presence. O thou, the fount of God goodness, bestow on us thy knowledge, bestow on us devotion, bestow pure love and perfect peace, and grant us shelter at thy hallowed feet. So stop here. Any questions? So many questions you have answered. The delusion is because of the impurities of the mind. That's all. When the impurities are removed, delusion is gone. That's all. Sometimes God also takes the support of Maya in order to play. Otherwise he cannot play. So he also takes the help of Maya to do his work in the world. You see, he's both, that's the way Lord Krishna has said this, he's both Brahman, which stands for formless aspect, and also the divine forms. So when a person realizes the absolute reality, then everything is Brahman itself. So the question doesn't arise. But in order to help the people, the Brahman manifests in his own way. He takes the human form in order to show the people the spiritual path. Otherwise, nobody can lead the people in their ignorant state. In the ultimate analysis, even the ignorance is also all illusory, because there is no ignorance in the soul. Ignorance is because of the mind. So why we have come with this mind, what was the beginning, nobody can say that. Maya, mind is required. Mind is a gateway, either to heaven or hell. Shri Krishna says in the Gita, Trivida Narakadvara, greed, lobha, moha. So he has to discard all the three. Kamaha, krodha. In another place he says kama, krodha, like that. So you have to go beyond the mind. You have to go through the mind. If you turn in one way, it leads to hell. Turn in opposite way, it leads to heaven. That means hell and heaven, meaning hell means suffering, heaven means bliss. So if you take in that sense, if you turn your mind towards God, you will be peaceful and happy. If you turn opposite way, if you turn towards the world, not on God, then suffering is the result. So like that they explain. Yeah. Please talk loudly, I can't. Please repeat. Yeah, so what? Because of the weather conditions, they have got different names. Vasanta Ritu, Grishma Ritu, Hemanta Ritu, like that. Depending upon the movement of the sun and the moon, they have named some seasons. They have classified the seasons. That's all. Here there is nothing like rainy season. Sometimes you get rain, but there rainy season means 3 months continuously it rains. It has already started up to June. This is the most rainy season now, up to June, July. Terrific rain, pouring. All right, yeah. No, Bhishma. See, in spite of Krishna being God himself, being the charioteer, there was no end for the suffering of the Pandavas. Seeing that I weep. So he is not weeping for any other reason. That means you can't understand the ways of God. That's the idea.
Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Our name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, down deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that bath for very selves. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth retinue. The playthings of lust are the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. How I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, but thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be freed from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good be done to all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased, he being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.